Guys, the military are here right now. They are shooting at us. I went closer, saw the military guys. The moment they took their positions, they started shooting. And while I was crawling out of the scene, I saw bodies on the floor. I think that was like another confirmation that I needed to leave that place immediately as soon as possible, because it could be me it could be me just lying down there helpless or lifeless. For me, what I can say about the EndSARS protests, I try not to call it a protest. For some reason, I see it more than just a protest. I see it as a movement. Initially, I remember the first day of the protest, I just wanted to go out to see how it's going to be like. And as a visual storyteller and someone that is really, really concerned with documentations, I just wanted to go document the first day and the only, day I perceived it was going to be, for the protests. For me, at that point, I was just thinking history was happening, and I needed to document history that was happening for prosperity purpose. So I think that was why I literally, in the local parlance, they would say, I literally carried the EndSARS matter for my head in terms of visually documenting it from the day one, even till the night of the shooting at the Lekki toll gate. On getting to the toll gate that day, I would say I saw a different kind of vibes, a different kind of energy. And for me, I was thinking different thoughts. Different thoughts were just, happening. I was scared. So a few minutes later, we observed some people running from the Oriental Hotel axis towards the Lekki toll gate, towards the protest ground. And, they were running and they started shouting, "They are here, they are here, they are here." And while they were running towards the protest ground, for me, at that point, I was at the protest ground, but I was now running towards Oriental Hotel because I wanted to go see myself if truly they are here, and to also capture some moments also. I went closer, saw the military guys. They parked around that Oriental Hotel axis, and they came down and they quickly took positions. I was busy, taking some shots then, and few minutes later, for me, I was observing maybe they would take position and maybe one or two military officials will walk down to the protest ground to talk to us. But that was not the case. The moment they took their positions, they started shooting. Guys, the military are here right now. They are shooting at us. I never even saw that coming. So immediately, I switched my camera to video. And, I observed something that the Nigerian military were very, very strategic that day, strategic to the core. They will shoot, and they will stop for a while, and they will, come forward a bit. And, that was how strategic they were. And so while they were coming closer, they were getting closer to the protest ground. So I was a bit closer to them. At a point, I had to leave, and I started running, to take cover. Like they're shooting at us, they're taking over. So I remember I was running and I even fell inside the gutter. And, it's not funny now, but now I'm even smiling. So, but I ran just to take cover. I ran back to my friend's car, which was parked at that LCC office axis. I ran back to my friend's car and I hid myself under my friend's car, as if I was a mechanic. I was under my friend's car totally with my camera, and I was still taking pictures from under my friend's car. And at that point, the Nigerian military were already close to the protest ground, and they kept shooting. Everywhere was dark. And I was really scared. I was really scared because, I was just under my friend's car thinking about so many things. And at the point, but I was really encouraged also. I was encouraged because while I was under my friend's car, the protesters were there, still chanting the national anthem, still raising the national flag. And I was just there telling myself, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in their midst. Because anything can happen to me down there, nobody will know and everything. So at that point, I was separate from the crowd. So I had to find my way back to the midst, where everybody was and everything. Like I said, it was dark. While I was in the midst of the peaceful protesters that they were chanting, they were chanting the national anthem, raising the Nigerian flag, I started hearing voices like, my leg, and everything. And I was like, I was like, what's up? What's wrong with you? And we put on the torchlight and, we just saw that bullet has passed through this guy's laps. He was wearing a jean. The jean was already soaked with blood, I can still remember. And while I was still trying to take some images and everything, I was still observing the movements of the Nigerian military. At that point, they were already close and they were trying to spread out. So at that point, I knew they were trying to circle us. And that was when I told myself, if these guys successfully circle you guys, it won't be funny you are still in their midst, because I happened to be the only photographer there at that moment. I had to crawl from the Lekki toll gate to Lekki phase 1 just to beat up that sharp bend. And while I was crawling out of the scene, I saw bodies on the floor. I think that was like another confirmation that I needed to leave that place immediately as soon as possible, because it could be me just lying down there, helpless or lifeless. And I successfully crawled to Lekki phase 1. I think that was when I got my senses back, and I had to call one of my friends. I tried to call one of my friends to manage my broken phone screen, and I called my friend that was still at that, Lekki toll gate. And I'm like, guy, are you still there? He said yes. And I was like, please find your way and leave that place immediately. He was like, he can't leave anymore, that they've already circled everybody completely. I said, wow. I just told him, just leave. I was just shouting, just leave, just leave. I don't even know how you want to leave, just leave, just leave. And that phone call ended, and I called him back like 2 minutes ago. His phone was switched off. I got a call from one of my mentors at that moment, and he was like, Inyene, where are you? I said, I don't even know, sir. He would like start coming down to my house. And that was how I had to find my way down to his house, trekking for hours that night. And I got to his house and I was just helpless, in quotes. Him and his wife, tried to encourage me. I was still not sane, because I thought I was still dreaming, or it was not even real at all. I remember asking him for his laptop. Let me get to see what I've captured, because I was still thinking maybe what I just experienced, a few minutes ago was still not real. And I couldn't sleep, not just that night. For days, I couldn't sleep. I could literally hear sound of bullets, even when everywhere around me was still very, very silent and all. And it was a really traumatic experience. I remember while I was still at I couldn't go back home for weeks. I was still at my mentor's place. There was this particular morning, he just called me saying, Inyene, please come out. My security man just told me something. Come and hear yourself. So I came out, he took me to his security guy. And that was when his security guy said 3 men came to look for him, for my mentors, than a night before. And he was not really expecting anybody. I think that was when I just knew that my location would have been compromised in a way, and I had to tell him that I need to leave his place. I was just moving from one safe house to another, and within that period, a lot of people have sent me. Some people have sent me threats, called me, and threatened me to bring down what I've posted on my social media, platforms. It was that bad that I was even being traced to my office before I knew what was happening, my account was frozen. And I had to, call a few of my mentors, and I told them, and they had to advise me to leave the country as soon as possible. I've never been to Accra before then, because they advised me to leave and I go to Accra. I've never been to Accra before then, but I called someone had to call someone had to call someone, and someone was already waiting for me in Accra, and I also, I got in touch with the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ. I told them, all that has happened, and thanks to CPJ really played a huge role in literally extracting me out of Nigeria. If you can remember, at that point, the Nigerian land borders were also closed. And that was how I got to Ghana. I was being put in a bus that was going to Accra. That was how I found myself in Accra in November 2020. So after spending some months in Accra, I had to come back to Nigeria. That was even after the heat of the EndSARS was already very, very low. Early, this year, I had to find my way back to Nigeria. That was in January, February or so. I got back, I was able to even go back to my office. It was this month I was able to go back to my office since October last year. So it was October this year, 12 months later, that I was really able to go back to my office. I'm a fan of using photography for social good, even with my foundation, Photo Africa. And I was thinking about what positive things can we use, photography for, bring privilege to document these EndSARS from beginning to end. What can I do positively to also add value to the country and everything? So that was where I got the idea of having a photo exhibition to commemorate 365 days of the EndSARS movement. And I discussed it with my team members, and we started working on it months before. And 2 weeks ago, October 5th, I was invited by a TV station here in Nigeria to come and talk about the photo exhibition and my personal experience documenting the EndSARS from the beginning to the end. And I went for the interview, which was a live interview. And after the interview, 16 minutes after the interview finished around 12 noon. Around 12:16 that same day, I got a call from the DSS asking me to come to their office in Shangisha, Magodo. And that was really strange. At the same time, I gathered up courage and I asked them, okay, fine, I don't mind coming down to your office, but can you make it official? Can you send me an official invite via my email address and everything? I think the call lasted for 2 minutes. That was it. Around past 2 that same day, I got another call from a different number also. And the person also, introduced herself. If I may remember, she even said her name was Bolanle also from DSS, and introduced herself and still said that I'm needed in their office. I think I even asked her why. She said for an interview. So I think that conversations lasted for 4 minutes. I still have those numbers that called me that day. And that was it. And I passed this, I shared this with my mentors, with my advisors, with my legal team also. And I told them I won't honor a phone call invitation from the DSS. I won't do that, except they send me an official invitation. I will definitely honor it. So my team, my mentors had to advise me to lay low, and that was even one of the major reasons that was even the reason we had to temporarily suspend the photo exhibition that was supposed to happen, which was tagged Sorosoke EndSARS Through My Lens. And we had to temporarily suspend it because of this. For me, I never really saw it that it was going to lead to something huge and something positive. It was also a landmark event for me as a person, professionally and career-wise also. I'm scared of my life. I'm scared of my life being, at a point I started questioning myself, like, why was I at the toll gate that day? For those that have the heart for Nigeria, for those that have the heart towards seeing a better Nigeria, I think we can do our little efforts and bring it together, and we can create positive change. We can birth the Nigeria of our dreams, the Nigeria that they told us that we are the leaders of, and all. So if I'm to do this again, I'll do this again with my full chest, in quotes.